memang dari segi ekonomi, kemeluk ekonomi yang berlaku sejak tahun 2008 nampaknya masih berlalutan, ya, masih berterusan. Maka kita mestilah bersama-sama untuk menangani cabaran ini, sebab walaupun dengan pelaksanaan program transformasi kerajaan dan program transformasi ekonomi untuk hampir 2 tahun setengah sekarang, dan telah nampak ada hasil-hasil positif, ya, tetapi keadaan ekonomi sedunia memang amatlah mencabar, ya, terutamanya dengan apa yang berlaku beberapa hari ini, ya, sebenarnya beberapa minggu yang lalu, dengan keadaan kewangan kerajaan Amerika Syarikat, ya, yang telah menyebabkan bahawa kredit rating Amerika Syarikat telah diturunkan, dan ini mungkin satu tanda permulaan apa yang disifatkan sebagai perfect storm, ya, oleh Encik Tony Tan, iaitu bekas Timbalan Perdana Menteri Singapura, yang membuat ramaran bahawa ini memang satu permulaan kemeluk atau tsunami ekonomi yang mungkin lebih serius daripada apa yang pernah dialami, ya. Oleh itu, dalam keadaan sedemikian, di mana kita seolah-olah sekarang ini satu dunia memang macam satu perahu bersama, we are in the same boat, ya, 必须要同舟共济, ya, iaitu dalam ekonomi sedunia ini dulu kita ada dua camp, ya, kapitalis komunis, ya, tetapi sekarang ini nampaknya walaupun masih ada puak-puak, ada kepentingan yang bercanggah, ya, tetapi kesan apa yang berlaku di Eropah misalnya, di sebuah negara yang kecil sebagai Greece, ya, atau Ireland, maka menjejas seluruh dunia, ya. So we are not segregated in terms of economy, ya. Apa yang berlaku di mana-mana tempat, ya, akan adanya kesan kepada tempat lain. Oleh itu, walaupun kedudukan kewangan negara kita masih kukuh, khasnya dari segi sistem kewangan, sistem perbankan, ya, sistem banking, ya, maka kita masih tidak dapat elak daripada kemeluk atau tsunami sekiranya ianya berlaku, ya. Oleh itu adalah amat penting dari sudut ini supaya kita bersama-sama berganding bahu di dalam negara kita, ya, kita mengurangkan hal ehwal berpolitik, walaupun kita tak dapat elakkan kerana pilihan raya umum mungkin akan sampai tak lama lagi, ya, sebab kita memang dalam tempoh setahun setengah mesti diadakan pilihan raya umum. Tetapi dalam berkempen untuk pilihan raya umum, lebih baik kita bertanding mengenai apakah formula dan plan penyelesaian yang ditawarkan oleh parti-parti yang bertanding, dan bukanlah secara beremosi dan secara personal, ya, kerana ianya tidak akan membawa manfaat kepada rakyat. Sebenarnya cabaran yang utama ialah cabaran ekonomi, cabaran bagaimana kita mengendalikan ekonomi, bagaimana kita mengendalikan kos hidup yang semakin meningkat, bagaimana kita mengendalikan daya saing yang mungkin kian menurun berbanding dengan negara-negara lain, dan bagaimanakah kita akan menjanakan penyertaan rakyat, khasnya perusahaan atau pengusaha kecil dan sederhana, small medium enterprises, ya, Maka inilah bagi saya isu-isu utama yang harus diberi tumpuan. Tetapi malangnya kita memang perhatian kita ini dipisah-pisah dan ditarik. Our focus has been attracted by many issues that should not have happened. Yeah, many issues that should have been handled better than it was handled before. Yeah, and as a result of which, persepsi rakyat memang begitu tidak menentu juga, begitu tidak positif, dan tidak dapat kita sama-sama menjalinkan satu usaha yang gigih untuk berhadapan dengan cabaran ekonomi ini. Yeah. So what I'm saying is that, you know, essentially, unfortunately, we have been distracted by many issues, you know, that are sentimental and emotional in nature. That shouldn't have happened. You know, we should have actually focused on the most major challenge, you know, which is the challenge of the economy and the livelihood of our people. That is the very, very basic. In the midst of the global economic crisis and in the midst of regional economic uncertainty, you know, but unfortunately we have been distracted by one issue after another, you know, which should have been handled more positively by both sides of the divide, you know, by both the government and the opposition. Yeah, and Gerakan is of the view that we must actually focus on the issue of major concern of the people, which is basically economic in nature. Yeah, but which also means that we must have a system that is fair and just to all in our economic system. It is not just economic growth, but it is also the distribution of opportunity, the distribution of chances of participation and livelihood, fair and just, and not control and monopoly by the big boys. But we must allow the small boys to have the chance to survive. And I think that's the stand of Parti Gerakan. Right? So in this respect, the State Liaison Committee, through our various discussions, we have drawn up a resolution, a set of 5 resolutions that in our opinion are addressing the basic concern of the people, especially the urban people in Kuala Lumpur. Yeah? And I hope that that will be debated fully so that we can put our stand as being very clear that our concern is the livelihood, the cost of living, the cost of business environment, the quality of business environment, the kind of services that the ministry and the DBKL will give to the people of KL. And I think this is extremely important, although it cannot be as sensational as other issues that you would like to raise, or a lot of people would like to raise, to be heroes. Yeah, but we would rather not be heroes of racial and religious conflict. We would rather be the heroes of real work for the people, for the common people. 所以各位同志，在我们当今的整个环球、整个世界的经济的极度的不稳定的这个情况之下呢，我们民政党长年以来我们都是以经济挂帅呀，就是我们认为人民最基本的就是经济。那么这个经济呢，不只是要维持我们的竞争力，能够在世界的市场上竞争，我们在国内呢也要确保我们的中小型的企业，我们的各阶层的人民能够获得公平合理的一个环境来生存、来竞争啊。那么同时，我们的人才也能够留住啊，能够发展发挥，这样才是一个最基本、最重要的。当然，很不幸的，我们在过去这2年半，或者自从308以来，我们一直不停的在政治上的纷争那么在政治上的纷争，当然有很多会制造出一些这个英雄那英雄 主要就是以情绪来反映人民的一些不满。这过情绪反映不满当然是一个方式，可是它绝对不是解决的方案。所以我们民政党基隆坡直辖区的联委会，我们经过了3次的这个讨论，同时也提案小组在个别的开会，我们一共准备了5个提案，反映出我们民政党直辖区人民最基本的课题，就是经济还有民生、环保这些重要的问题，这是革民主都受影响的问题，我们的关注和我们的立场。那么我希望等下我们呢可以通过更深入的辩论之后呢，那么我们通过这些提案呢，主要不是来给人家看，也不是自己爽而已，而是我们要看怎么样来去实行，来为我们基隆坡直辖区的人民So inilah apa yang saya maksudkan sebagai tumpuan utama yang amat penting. Yang keduanya, saya tadi sebut bahawa sejak Mac 08 memang tak berhenti-berhenti banyak isu telah dibangkitkan. Walaupun yang amat berhormat Perdana Menteri Datuk Seri Najib Tun Razak telah mengilhamkan dan memacu is inspire and drive konsep gagasan satu Malaysia, di mana yang ditegaskan ialah perpaduan dalam konteks kepelbagaian, di mana beliau menegaskan bahawa bukan toleransi sahaja, tetapi penerimaan. Kita menerima perbezaan, kita menghormati dan kita meraihkan kepelbagaian. The concept is to move from tolerate to accept, to respect, and to celebrate. From tolerate to celebrate. That means we are emphasizing through the concept of Satu Malaysia, the multi-ethnic, the multicultural, and the multi-religious diversity, and also the tradition of heritage of this diversity being the strength of Malaysia. And I think this is something that Gerakan can definitely identify with and can definitely accept, because this has been our struggle all these 40 over years. In Gerakan we have been talking about the concept of a Malaysia that is based on the existing diversity that we have, and yet we can carve harmony and unity out of this diversity. Okay, so this is something that we would like to continue to support and drive. Although no doubt a lot of people, critics will say, well, what is one Malaysia when you have voices of extremism still being heard, when you have acts of extremism, when you have behaviors that are not sensitive, especially behaviors of some officers that are not sensitive to the multi-ethnic, multi-religious reality of Malaysia. Then what is the use of one Malaysia? Well, I would like to argue the other way around. I say it's precisely because in every country there exist views that are extreme, views that are divisive, views that are not cohesive and inclusive. That's why we need Satu Malaysia. That's why we need, for example, in Gerakan, we talk about Satu Hati. If you read our slogan here, we have Satu Hati, Satu Negara, Satu Wawasan. Okay, which we have been saying for 20 years. This has been our slogan, right? But it doesn't mean that immediately after we shout this slogan, every problem will be resolved. Okay, like if you look at even the most advanced country, like in the US. In the US, after Declaration of Independence, all men are born equal. Slavery lasted for another 100 years before it was dismantled by Abraham Lincoln. After that, for another 100 years, there was segregation in the South of America, where blacks and white cannot sit together in the same restaurant, in the same bus, in the same school. Okay, where it took the life of Martin Luther King Jr. to change this in the civil rights movement. And it wasn't after that, after the 60s, when I was a student in the late 60s, early 70s, there was still Ku Klux Klan. You know what is Ku Klux Klan? The triple K, KKK. K is not the core, but it's Ku Klux Klan, alright? Okay? And it's very extreme. It's not talking about saying something extreme like Ibrahim Ali, but it's talking about lynching the blacks, about killing the blacks, okay? And the blacks responded with Black Panther Party, also violence with guns, okay? This is in the 60s and 70s, after 200 years of independence, okay? So that kind of problem still exists. Recently in Norway, right? In the name of rising against what they talk about, fear of Islam. You have an extreme guy, right? A person who killed, just out of reserve, and this shows how precarious societies are, even the most advanced society, okay? And then as a reaction against the terrorism, some of the Islamic extremists, okay? And you have equally, extreme kind of reaction, okay? So we must realize that this challenge of race and religion is a global challenge, okay? It's a global challenge. It's a challenge of the world, not just of Malaysia. Malaysia, we may be fortunate because all this while, our people, because we are believers of the great religions of the world, we also inherited the civilization, the great civilizations, with moderation as our main aim, all right? As our main objective, we are able to maintain peace and harmony, until today. But I must admit that ethnic, cultural, religious diversity or divergence of view still exists. Diversity is not a problem, but divergence of view, especially extreme views, is a problem, okay? It is not the religion that's the problem. It is the extremist interpretation of every religion. You can see that it is actually almost every religion has got an extreme interpretation, all right? And there is the danger. So if we are up to the true teaching of our religion, we can never be extreme, all right? That's why our Prime Minister was talking about the concept of moderation, wasatiyah, wasatiyah in Islam, moderation, right? And in Chinese, in Confucianism, the most important word is zhongyong, which also means moderation, all right? While all the major great religions of the world, from Buddhism to Christianity to Hinduism, all preach compassion and love, okay? Compassion and love is 慈悲博爱 right? 中庸 这些全部的主要的宗教都是这样的。可是呢，很不幸的，有一些呢就把这个宗教的信仰以一种偏激的观点来去看。So if we look at religion from its true teaching, we should not have any problem. Okay? But if we allow extremist view or political hijacking of religion, all right, then we will have problem. All right. For example, the latest incident, and the reason why I haven't made any statement is because, I was observing and looking, investigating to the Jabatan Perpaduan. The moment it occurred, we have sent our officers on the ground. We started engaging a lot of people, all right, because we want to get the true picture, all right. So, but what is happening, in my opinion, shouldn't have happened, all right. Although there is the constitutional provision, right? Although there are state enactments, to prohibit the propagation of non-Islamic religions amongst Muslims, all right? But it doesn't mean that then officers should take the law into their own hands and in ignorant or ignoring sensitivities, by raiding a religious place of worship, all right? Where in my opinion, as came out by Tan Sri Zaman Khan, whom I know quite well as a former CPO of Penang, all right, and also a former director of CID in the police. He actually was the one who came out to say that actually this function was to raise fund, for the Malaysian Aid Society, of which he was the president. All right. So what is wrong with encouraging, people of different beliefs to come together to raise fund for a worthy cause, right? What is wrong with encouraging people of different religious background to come together to help people? Just imagine every Hari Raya, when we give away the Raya gifts for the needy and the poor, we have always included all races. Yaitu di dalam perayaan dalam bulan Ramadan misalnya, apabila kita sampaikan sumbangan kepada mereka yang memerlukan, yang kurang bernasib baik, kita sentiasa melibatkan semua, dan kita juga jemput mereka ke masjid, atau ke mana-mana tapak yang sesuai supaya mereka bergaul bersama mengikut semangat satu Malaysia. Begitu juga apabila tsunami melanda Pulau Pinang dan kawasan yang teruk sekali ialah di Tanjung Tokong, Kampung Lama Tanjung Tokong, yang teruk sekali, dan yang sampai di sana yang awal sekali ialah satu kumpulan Buddhis, the Suci, Ciji Kong Te Hui, ialah kumpulan yang sampai ke sana untuk bantu. Sebab itu mereka orang kampung di kampung Tanjung Tanjung Tokong Lama sampai hari ini masih boleh sebut nama Suci. Okay? Masih ingat, tetapi ini tidak bermakna bahawa mereka akan bertukar agama, atau sesiapa akan tukar agama. Ini yang amat penting, Oleh itu kita mesti memajukan konsep kesederhanaan, moderation. Kita mesti menggalakkan interaction, So we must emphasize, we must promote moderation. We must continue to promote interaction, and we cannot, overreact, and be overzealous about implementation of the laws. All right, we must always take into account the sensitivity of religious belief, and that has always been the stand of Parti Gerakan. Moderation, inclusiveness, and be sensitive to all. All right, and we will continue to stand by it, and we will continue to help to solve the problem. Okay, so I would like our Gerakan members to continue to pass that message around, and also in our capacity, we will try our very best to see how to resolve it, how to interpret and implement, some of the laws and regulations in the most sensitive and reasonable way, rational and reasonable way, and not to create unnecessary sensitivities. To be sensitive doesn't mean that you create, to be sensitive not to create sensitivities. Okay, to be sensitive not to create sensitivities, and that's why we emphasize that we do not want to politicize this issue. Okay, we do not want to politicize, but our stand is very clear. We object to any untoward and unwarranted behavior that will create and that will jeopardize sensitivity, religious sensitivity, and hence inter-religious harmony. Okay, and this is what we have to do.